Wednesday, Sunday evening. It is 6:30 p.m. on May 18th, and this is the Mason Kussmaul Show. Welcome in. Once again, make sure you turn on notifications and subscribe so you never miss an episode of the Mason Kussmaul Show. It's a great show, and don't want to miss it. So they are always going to be on Wednesdays and Sundays. Otherwise, if they are, which is pretty unlikely scenario, make sure I let you guys know in advance. Today's sponsor is Cassville BP in Cassville, Wisconsin. Thanks for sponsoring today's video. And if you want to be a sponsor, I ask for two things. One, your business name. Two, your business location. And if you want, you can include a little brief description about your business that will be said here on the show. And you can email me to contact me for a sponsor at masonkussmaul@gmail.com. No capitalization. Once again, thanks for sponsoring this video, Cassville BP. Let's get into a weather forecast for Monday through Wednesday. It's going to be a cold first half of the week. It's not going to be very nice. It's going to be cold and rainy for most of right now it is 65 degrees. It was a relatively nice day besides this morning. It was a little cold and it was a little windy here too, but when the sun popped out, it was nice. Tomorrow, we have cloudy with a high of 61 degrees. With winds out of the east at 15 to 25 miles per hour. Winds will be gusting probably at around 30 miles per hour, maybe at about 30 miles per hour at times, I'm assuming. So a little bit more of a windy day. We might see some rain showers tomorrow night, though, with the low dropping around to 40 degrees tomorrow. So will be cold, probably not, will be cold for about most of the day. A high is 61 degrees. So it'll probably warm up towards the evening, but it will probably be cold in the 50s, and with the wind, it might feel a little cooler. Tuesday is rain, potential for heavy rainfall with a high of 47 degrees. That is not warm at all. That's very below average for May. With winds out of the east at 15 to 25 miles per hour, with a chance of rain at 70%. Rainfall possibly over 1 inch, and I can't stress enough how much we need the rain. We probably haven't had rain for more than 2 weeks, and I can't recall how many people I told this weekend, oh my gosh, the dandelions are so bad, and I mowed my lawn today, and I feel like my lawnmower, it broke down. It couldn't handle all those dandelions. I feel like those dandelions made it break down. All those seeds that when they die out, they form these white stuff and you can kick them and blow onto them, the seeds come out. I feel like all that affected, and my steering thing doesn't work now, so now it's got to go into slow and implement in Bloomington, hopefully sometime soon. So another problem with farm equipment. So yeah, I was really upset with that. So rain probably is going to be the biggest thing for Tuesday. It's going to be chilly. Probably will want a jacket. Maybe not a winter coat. Probably not a winter coat, but definitely a jacket. Probably not a day to wear shorts. I probably won't be wearing shorts probably at all on Tuesday. Or maybe not even tomorrow either. I don't even think it's going to be that nice tomorrow. It says high of 61 degrees, but it probably won't even get up to 61 degrees till 6 p.m. or something. That night, too, kind of the same thing. It's kind of going to rain with a low of 43 degrees. Not a beautiful Tuesday, especially not a beautiful last week for students at River Ridge. Let's go to Wednesday now, the next day of the Mason Kussmaul Show. We have cloudy with showers with a high of 52 degrees with winds northeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour, so winds dying down there. The chance of rain of 50%. Now, we have 3 days of potential rainfall. Well, 2 full days. Monday's going to rain at night. And I've always said I like rain when it rains 1 to 2 days a week, not when it rains on every single day of the week. Especially, I don't like it when it rains on the weekend because that's annoying, I feel like. Especially the next weekend is going to be Memorial Day weekend, and I'll get to your Memorial Day forecast on Wednesday. I'm planning to do a Memorial Day special video, too, live from my grandparents' cabin out in the Mississippi River. Hopefully, we'll get to have a river view in the background. That will hopefully be next Sunday, so I'll probably give more details about that coming up soon. But hopefully it's nice for Memorial Day weekend. I'm just going to scroll over and look. It looks nice in the 60s. Monday on Memorial Day it might rain, but right now we're talking about Monday and Wednesday. Wednesday night, low of 43 degrees, so we're going to stay in the 40s for the lows, and it looks like it's going to start clearing out that day. Looking ahead to the week, it looks nice, going back up to the 60s, getting out of the 50s. And then after Memorial Day, it looks to warm up a bit, and I'll get to that forecast once we get a little closer. I'm getting ahead of myself here. I like to do that a lot. I like to get things done, and quickly, too. All right, well, that wraps up our weather forecast, brought to you by Fox Weather. The Fox Weather, you can download the Fox Weather app on Google Play or App Store. That's where I have it. Have it on Google Play on my Chromebook here. All right, let's go to the Brewers. They had a game today. I listened to them while I mowed my lawn. They defeated the Minnesota Twins with a 5-2 victory. The Twins have a record of 26 wins and 21 losses, and the Brewers have a record of 22 wins and 25 losses. 2-5 is the final score, with the Brewers taking a victory today. Going and looking ahead at your extended games. We have tomorrow, the Brewers are going to host the Baltimore Orioles, not Oreos, Orioles, at 6:40 p.m. tomorrow. It looks like that's going to be in Milwaukee. Tuesday, May 20th at 6:40 p.m., the Brewers are again hosting the Orioles at 6:40. And then Wednesday, May 21st at 12:10 p.m., the Brewers are hosting the Orioles again. So a 3-day series against the Brewers and the Orioles. Now I'm saying Orioles. I will have more coverage on the wins for the Brewers, hopefully, on Wednesday. Let's go to River Ridge School District academic/athletic events for Monday and Wednesday. For more information, go to the River Ridge School District webpage at rrsd.k12.wi.us. We are getting down to the days at the end of the school year. The last day of school for River Ridge is Friday, May 23rd. So we will have the River Ridge School District athletic/academic events will only be featured in 2 more episodes, counting this one and the next one, because there's not a lot going on there in the summer. So they will probably not be featured again until sometime September. If I'm still doing the show in September, I hope I am. Like I said, I like this. I think this is really successful. But let's start off with tomorrow. Tomorrow, from 8:05 a.m. to 3:15 p.m., the 5th grade are taking their field trip to Bethel Horizons, just outside of Dodgeville, right next to Governor Dodge State Park. It's kind of like a recreational area. They have a lot to do there. They have it's kind of a nice little place there. Middle school events from 8:15 a.m. to 3 p.m., the 7th grade field trip to Black Hawk Lake. I asked a 7th grader what they're going to be doing there, and they said swimming, and I was just looking at their forecast, which I just gave details on. It doesn't look like it's going to be the most weather-appropriate, weather-fitting swimming day, so hopefully they have some other events planned, because it doesn't look like tomorrow's going to be a swimming day. Probably do some hiking and, of course, have a little lunch, picnic, all that. High school events at 4:15 tomorrow is the track varsity conference meet at the University of Wisconsin-Platteville in Platteville, Wisconsin. The opponents will be Albany, Belmont, Blackhawk, Monticello, Argyle, Pecatonica, Castro Potosi, Benton, Scales, Mount Schulzberg, and TBA. Not sure, to be announced. I'm not sure. Maybe more people are coming. I don't know. High school athletics at 5 p.m. tomorrow. Softball varsity game against Barneveld at River Ridge. And high school athletics at 6:30 p.m. is a softball JV game against Barneveld at River Ridge. Tuesday, May 20th, elementary events at 12:45 p.m. is a 3rd grade Memorial Day program, which is 3rd graders there. I know Charlotte, my sister's been working on this. She's in 3rd grade, and she's going to be doing this. And they had like a veteran or something, and they asked. She did our great uncle, and I can't remember what she did. She just, I don't know, asked him some questions like, what did you do for your service and all that? And so I think she has a little written report on that. And I know they're going to be folding the flag, singing some songs there, and that is in the River Ridge Elementary Gym on Tuesday. High school athletics at 5 p.m. on Tuesday is the baseball varsity game against Belmont at the River Ridge School District. High school athletics at 5 p.m. is softball varsity game against Belmont at the River Ridge School District. High school athletics at 6:30 p.m. is the softball JV game against Belmont at the River Ridge School District. And high school athletics at 7 p.m. is the baseball JV game against Belmont at the River Ridge School District. Wednesday, May 21st, we have elementary events, elementary awards So not sure what that is because I'm not really in elementary and I can't remember back to 4th grade. Elementary events at 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. is the 4th grade history walk in Bloomington, Wisconsin. So when we were in 4th grade, we did that, and we went to Bloomington, and we did a lot of historical stuff there, and we learned a lot about it in Wisconsin's history class. Before that, we went to Bloomington. We learned a lot about famous people there and famous places and all that, like Taft's Mill. It's called Taft's Mill Pottery now. The Woodhouse in Bartley, People's State Bank in Bloomington. What else was there? We went to the Old Rock School. That's pretty close to Congress Square Park, I believe. We went to the ballpark, Bloomington Park, where the Veterans Memorial thing is there. And we went to Congress Square Park and had lunch there. I remember that. That's all I can remember. We probably did more things. We went to the cemetery and found the people we were talking about in class before that. Like, I can't remember what their names were and all that, but I know it had, like, Woodhouse and Bartley and all that. They must have been bankers or whatever, and I can't remember. I can't remember anything that year old, so. High school events at 12 p.m. on Wednesday is the high school final exams. They're going to be getting ready to end the school year with that. Middle school events at 7 p.m. is the 8th grade graduation in the River Ridge High School gym. And that concludes our segment on River Ridge School District athletic/academic events. Tune in for one more episode featuring River Ridge School District academic/athletic events, because end of the school year is near, and that means I will not be featuring them because, well, obviously I had summer school. There's not really much going on over the summer. All right, so let's get into Mason's moment now, and today's topic is going to be on hurricane season preparation. And it's really important to be aware in these scenarios because last year we had NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, and I believe Colorado State University forecasted an above average season for hurricane season. And we did see an above average season. We saw Hurricane Beryl, which came shore over in southeast Texas. Hurricane Helene, which kind of went all over the place. I think it went through Florida and then went up into the Carolinas. And I know a lot of people are still feeling the effects from Hurricane Helene. Why am I forgetting these? Hurricane Milton, which went to Florida. I believe that went close to Tallahassee area. There was one that went over by Louisiana. I can't remember what that was called. I want to say hurricanes, but I don't think that's right. Yeah, I don't know. I just know there was one that went through by Louisiana. But anyway, why I'm talking about this is because this may not affect a lot of people here in Southwest Wisconsin, but I know a lot of people, especially in this area. Like, I have family members and relatives who winter. I have relatives who both winter in Florida and Texas, which are both near the Gulf of America. So it's important that if a hurricane were to go, because hurricanes bring flooding, damage. It's basically just a big storm. So to explain to an American who's probably never really heard of a hurricane before, which if you live in the United States, you probably have, a hurricane is a big thunderstorm with rain and wind. Wind is the key factor pretty much in a hurricane. I think they kind of categorize hurricanes based on their wind speed, because there's category 1, category 2, category 3, category 4, category 5. So they kind of categorize hurricanes based on their wind speed. And I believe Hurricane Helene was a category 4, maybe category 3 or 4. Milton, I think, was a category 4. And Beryl, when Beryl came to shore, Beryl was a long-lasting hurricane, and it went far, too. Beryl started over in the Caribbean area, and it came all the way to the American coast. And at one point, Beryl was a category 5. But once it got to the southeast coast of Texas, it was a Category 1. But no matter what it is, hurricane, tropical storm, it's nothing to joke around about. These things are serious. They can cause damage, and that's why it's very important to stay aware, be aware. And officials, not in pretty much every state wherever you live in the United States, as long as you, I remember a few years ago, California, which is on the Pacific coast, they had a Hurricane Hillary, and California's not as known as for hurricanes. They probably had a few hurricanes, but not nearly as many as the Gulf Coast states like Florida, Louisiana, Texas, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. Those states are kind of known for hurricanes because they're on the Gulf Coast. So it's the Gulf water. The reason why the United States is, I think, so heavily affected is because I hear that Gulf water, the Gulf water is really warm, and it's really warm water. So I think they say it's warmer than the Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific Ocean. So I think the Gulf water can be almost up to 90 degrees sometimes. And it needs Atlantic hurricane season begins June 1st. And why it begins June 1st is because that's when the water temperatures are starting to get warmer. So it's more fitting for hurricanes to form and stuff. But can there be hurricanes outside of those dates? It goes from June 1st to November 30th. Can there be hurricanes outside of those dates? Absolutely. Usually hurricanes, I think we had last year, there was hurricane activity, like there was like chance of formation and stuff, like not necessarily a hurricane, but maybe like a tropical storm. And I believe that started around like Memorial Day. So there can be activity before the June 1st deadline. But officials in pretty much every state that borders the Gulf and the Southeast states are saying that now is the time to prepare. They want you to get flood insurance. They want you to they want you to make your home hurricane ready. And a lot of people, especially storm surge, is probably the thing that wipes out your home the most, because the flooding, you can't really control it. And storm surge, especially if you live there are some major cities along the water in Florida: Tampa, Miami, Key West, Jacksonville, Cape Canaveral. Tallahassee's not on the water, but they're close to the water. Florida has some major cities along the water, and it's important for them to stay aware because storm surge can heavily affect them. Miami Beach is one of those places where storm surge is not your best friend. Even in Texas, Houston's fairly close to the water. New Orleans, fairly close. Mobile, Alabama, fairly close. I'm trying to think any others. I don't think so, really. Not much in Mississippi, not a lot of people there. So but storm surge is, especially if you live along the water, you might say, oh, the Gulf of America, it's beautiful around this time. Well, it's also not very friendly around this time because all these systems and storms it brews up. So I'm going to read this thing off. The 2025 Atlantic hurricane season is projected to be above average. North Carolina State University, NCSU, is forecasting 10 to 15 named storms. So that's pretty much like a tropical storm, a hurricane, a Category 3 plus hurricane. Category 3 plus hurricanes are considered major hurricanes. And 6 to 8 hurricanes, so that's pretty above average. We don't want that. Not saying all those would come to the U.S., but they could affect the Caribbean islands, or they could be anywhere in the Atlantic. This is for the Atlantic Ocean. Like, they could be anywhere in the Atlantic. And 2 to 3 major hurricanes. So we're talking Category 3 plus hurricanes. So if a hurricane is coming, if most hurricanes, I feel like, that have came to the U.S. have been major hurricanes, Category 3 plus hurricanes. you don't really want to mess around with those. So Colorado State University, or CSU, I think they predict this hurricane season a lot, is predicting 17 named storms. So once again, that can be tropical storms, hurricanes, all that. 9 hurricanes and 4 major hurricanes. So that's that's more active than NCSU's forecast. So like we said, this isn't to scare people. This is to prepare people, and we want people to be as prepared as possible. So 4 major hurricanes, not something to joke around about. Again, not saying these will go to the U.S. coast, but they could go there. But, you can't really predict where the hurricanes are going to go until the hurricane forms. Now let's go to NOAA, or the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, is going to issue its outlook on May 22nd, which will be Thursday. So I feel like the government, you add the word National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. They're the ones, they run the National Hurricane Center, they run the National Weather Service, they run all that. And I feel like, I'm not saying these colleges and all that would be wrong, because these are people there that are training to do this. They're probably in college to go for meteorology or forecasting and stuff like that. Not saying they're wrong. They have a great chance of being accurate. Both of the colleges I just read off to you are predicting basically the same thing. So not saying they're wrong, but I would probably go off of what NOAA says, just because, I feel like they'd be a little bit more reliable. Not saying these colleges are wrong. They could absolutely be right. When you do something like this, you absolutely have a chance of succeeding and being correct, because both of these colleges, North Carolina State University and Colorado State University, basically predicted the exact same thing. And usually NOAA's going to kind of be like, oh, they're predicting this, they're predicting that. Maybe, yeah, I think they're right. Yeah, they'll kind of go off kind of what they say, too. And eventually, feel like most of the weather channels, like Fox Weather, the Weather Channel, Weather Nation, AccuWeather, they're like, NOAA says this, Colorado State University says this, they say that. Like, there's a bunch of colleges that predict hurricane season and stuff, but these colleges are probably the most reliable ones, probably the most well-known ones. I know Colorado State University, I feel like pretty good at forecasting, because I feel like they've been mentioned multiple times. So it's just really important that none of this information probably people don't really care about. Nobody really cares about hurricane season and all that till a hurricane actually happens. When you're caught off guard and you're not prepared. That's why it's important that you stay with your local weather app, Fox Weather, Weather Nation, Weather Channel, AccuWeather, even though I don't think AccuWeather is that accurate, but it's just important that you stay with your local weather app for more of this, because they will give outlooks. You watch them on TV, they kind of forecast the path. Oh, it's going to go this way, and then it's going to curve like that. Oh, it's just going to go straight up to the coast. It's just going to go straight up the coastline. It's going to go and then curve to the left and avoid this coastline and all that. So they give a lot of outlooks and stuff, depending on, it kind of depends on the warm water and how warm the water is, and the weather patterns, the jet streams, which way the winds are going, and all that. So there's a bunch of things that can be used to forecast hurricanes and all that. So my point out of this is officials are warning that now is the time to prepare your home. Whether you live there or not, it's pretty important to know. And I will be covering hurricanes here on the Mason Kussmaul Show, because I think it's important that whether or not you live here, you have a home down there, like I myself vacation down there, so I still want to know what's going on. Will my vacation environment be different when I go down there because there's been a hurricane? I don't know. So that's why I want to know what's going on. So I will be covering hurricanes and stuff and tropical storms and all that here on the Mason Kussmaul Show. I'll probably be throwing it in with my weather segment. I might even replace that, since I said River Ridge School District events since school's getting out, probably won't be featuring those anymore. I'll probably be featuring that hurricane segment, like, oh, are there any hurricanes yet, or are there any hurricanes brewing up yet? So I'll probably be featuring with that. So to wrap it up, stay aware this hurricane season. It's pretty important, whether you live there or not, to be aware. And I think weather channels and all that, they do a great job of covering it. I'm going to cover it here, so stay tuned this summer. And June 1st is the deadline for the start of the Atlantic hurricane season. All right, let's get in and wrap up this video. It is currently 6:55 p.m. this Sunday evening. I have 1 week of school left, and all kids at River Ridge do. Besides the seniors, they're gone. They're not coming back. And, today's video is sponsored by Cassville BP in Cassville, Wisconsin. Thanks for sponsoring. Once again, if you want to be a sponsor, I ask for two things. Number one, your business location, and I always say these backwards. Your business name and your business location, and you can include a brief description about your business that will be featured on the show as well. For more information on that, email me at masonkussmaul@gmail.com. Thanks for Cassville BP for sponsoring this video. All right, my next video, I'm planning on Wednesday, May 21st at 5:30 p.m. So I'm planning on talking a little bit more about my Memorial Day special, or Memorial Weekend special on Sunday. So I'll be breaking that down too. And hopefully I'll start finding a Mason's Moment topic. I think I said in my last video, I really struggled finding a Mason's Moment topic. I don't know why. So I used to like to talk about the outside, and I talk about the weather like I'm talking about hurricanes in this video. And if you can't catch live, you can always catch it on YouTube. I make sure it's saved on there. It's not under the video segment, it's under the live segment, so you have to go to my homepage on YouTube and then go to live. It should be on there, not videos live, because this is a live thing. But once again, thanks for everybody for watching, and hope to see you Wednesday and on Memorial Weekend. I'm planning on doing a Memorial Weekend special. Once again, if you can't catch us live, me live, you can always catch me on YouTube afterwards. So yeah, that's pretty much wrapping it up for tonight. It's 6:57, just short of a half-an-hour video. I'm thinking this has been my shortest video so far, which is not necessarily a good thing because I like doing this. So, well, hopefully everybody see you on Wednesday. Have a great rest of your Sunday, and have a great start to your little bit chilly, rainy week. So get a jacket out of your closet, put some sweatpants on, because it's not going to be 80 degrees outside. Well, all right, see you guys on Wednesday. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your Sunday, and have a great start of your week. See you on Wednesday.